there. This is your girl, Valerie Mason Chase. And I got the Cookie Man with me this week. I don't know if y'all missed him last week, but I know I sure did. Did you miss being on here, babe?
Of course.
Yeah, right. He ain't missed nothing. But I missed him being here. But we are blessed with his presence here this evening.
Okay, thank you,
so I want to thank you, anyone who's watching, whether it's now or whether it's later. And I'm going to say what I always forget to say, which is what?
I don't know those things.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Okay,
that's the mantra. Like, subscribe, and share. Say it.
Like,
subscribe, and share. There you
LSS.
go.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about is something that if you live long enough, it's going to hit us all. And that's retirement. Because I think that's the goal. That's something we all going to aspire to. Well, I don't know about you.
Aspire to, I don't know. Aspire to, but like I said, it's going to happen whether I want to or not.
Whether you want to or not. Because if we live long enough, we will get to a point where we'll either want to retire or we'll have to retire because we done worn out our welcome and we done got too old to work. And I know that there are some people, for whatever reason, they work until a very advanced age. And, sometimes that could be in their best interest, but it's not always necessarily in the best interest of the company or the other employees. So, like I said, it's something that's going to face all of us. So I have two very, very special guests with me tonight. Let me tell y'all. When I was in school at Cairn University and we were doing the marriage and family portion of our studies, and we had to find a couple to work with, and they volunteered to work with your girl. And let me tell you, they played their role to a T. It was an Oscar-worthy performance because, listen, they played it so well. Sometimes I forgot we was play acting. But it was good. So I just want to bring them on without further ado. I have Byron and Hope Marshall. Welcome.
Hey. Hello.
Hey guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you for thinking of us and having us on. I know this is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
It's our pleasure. And I don't know if you've met the Cookie Man, but his real name is Frank. I just call him the Cookie Man. Okay.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, where y'all sitting at now? Look like you're outside.
On our front porch.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks nice, right? See, because they both retired. See.
And these are not rocking chairs, okay?
I wasn't saying that, bro.
Retirement doesn't mean rocking chairs. So just wanted to make
there you
go. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So Byron and Hope, introduce yourselves to our viewers. Just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'll start off. I'm Byron, married to Hope, and we've been together
almost 32 years.
32
years next month.
32 years.
Congratulations.
And we just celebrated our 27th wedding anniversary in May. We worked together for over 29 years together at the same place. We rode together every day. And so we've been together. What you see is what you get. So
yeah.
Yep.
Software developer, now retired. 3 kids, 5 grand. So, we got our hands full, but we're good. They're all grown and gone, so it's just she and I now. So we're good. We're good.
I know. Listen, I'm feeling that emptiness because some people they get depressed, they get sad about their emptiness. Listen, I love the emptiness. What about you, babe? You love the emptiness?
Yeah, some days. I love it after the grandkids had been here and they cause all kind of havoc.
And then
when they leave, I remember what I love about the quiet.
Yeah, it makes sense because we're keeping our eye on one right now as we're in this meeting.
Okay.
So I am Hope. Again, been with Byron 32 years. Literally, what you see is what you get. Yes, we worked together for 29 years. Got up, went to work, did lunch every day, came home, and it was not monotonous for us. It was not like boring. It's just like getting to hang with your best friend you know, every day. Of course, in that we had our girlfriend time and he had his friends time. So it's not like we just, you know, smothered each other, because it wasn't, you know, like that. So it's truly been a blessing.
Wow.
To just, you know, it's like every little girl's dream, you know, kind of where you grow up and you want to be in this almost perfect relationship, you know, because you know, God, that is not perfect, right? But it's just like it's close enough to perfection.
Wow.
Of the peace that we have.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
And I'm in agreement with all of that. To God be the glory, because he did it. Because if it was up to me, it wouldn't be.
I understand.
I have a track record of messing things up. So
that's beautiful. And you know, I especially like the way you described the two of you working together, because I hear other couples who work together say how it negatively impact their relationship at home. So it's so nice and refreshing to hear a couple who you know, you're able to work together full time and come home together and have it not negatively impact the marriage. So that's really refreshing to hear.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, Val, because you know, early on, I mean, I thought about stuff like that. Like, if this doesn't work out, like, this would be really hard for it not to work out, and we still have to see each other, you know, every day. So that definitely was, you know, a thought that can happen. So yeah.
And even some of the managers, right? You know, they offered me a position where, you know, we would be on the same team. See, prior to that, we worked in the same building on the same floor, but at opposite ends, and we were pretty close in proximity. But to be on the same team, how would that work? And they had problems with that before, but with
other
us,
people,
with other people, but with us, we were like,
Yeah, and it was funny because when they were shifting desk around, and they were like, "Do you think you mind if, you know, Byron's on the other side, or you guys are on the other side of the wall from each other?" And we're like, "Man, that's just too close." I don't want to be able to hear his voice or him hear my voice, you know, over the phone. We didn't want that, you know, it's good, but that's just like, no, that's not necessary. So yeah.
Okay. So when did you guys retire?
For me, it was June 1st. Was it 2019? June 1st, 2019. So just a little over 3 years. A little over 3 years.
Yep.
And it's been a blast.
Yep.
Every day is Saturday, you know. Yeah.
I hear that. Say that again, Byron. Say it real loud.
Every day is Saturday.
Look, you're laughing, but sometimes we seriously have to remember when we leave the house to go make a run somewhere.
Right.
We're like, oh crap, we're in the middle of this traffic. That's right, it's a weekday. It's a work day. You don't know how often we've done that.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but Byron had 34 years in, and I retired actually 3 months after him, with 32 years in. And the plan was to actually retire together with the same retirement date, but they started messing around with insurance and stuff like that. So Brian was like, well, let me just go now, so I'll make sure that I lock in
the insurance
right,
that we, you know, that I liked, that we had before they make any changes. And that way I was secure in knowing what our health benefit package looked like.
Yeah, because you know, that's a biggie. And I have to say, that is one of the pluses from, because I retired from the VA hospital, which is my employer was the federal government. And that's one of the advantages of being able to keep that same healthcare plan after retirement, because some people are not afforded that opportunity, and having to pay for another separate plan after retirement, especially if you're already in your 60s, that could be kind of costly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, so that was definitely a huge benefit for us.
So other than thinking about healthcare benefits, what other things factored into making a decision in terms of when you retired?
Well, first of all, we had to have, you know, time and age. You know, we worked for the state government. So having the time and the age, so there was no limitation, so that I didn't retire early to take a penalty.
Yeah.
So that way I got my, full pension benefits and the such, and not have to take a hit, leaving early. So like she said, I was going to stay long enough for both of us to come out together without penalty. And so that I wanted to make sure we didn't get a hit for coming out early. So,
yep. So that was key. The other thing was we definitely wanted to be able to maintain the lifestyle that we had become accustomed to prior to retirement. And so we wanted to make sure that we were in that situation as well financially. So that was a big key for us too. Yep.
Yeah.
To retire debt free. And that was a key.
I understand that. Because I know a couple of years before retiring, that was my focus, to get rid of all my debt except student loan. That ain't going nowhere. Right. But other than my student loan, I got rid of all the other debt that I had. And I think that was really key. I think that's a crucial part of planning for your retirement, which unfortunately, there are some people who don't really plan properly for their retirement, and they don't have a very happy or successful or comfortable retirement.
Right. Yeah. And so one important thing, and I think we can both agree to this, it was that our retirement was retirement. It wasn't, I just want to get out of this job, I'll just go get another job somewhere else.
Right.
So when we retired, we wanted to be able to retire and not be in, any financial hardship or anything like that. So we didn't want to have to go and look for, a second job. I know I hear a lot of people talk about being bored and stuff like that, or not having stuff to do, but a lot of people's financial situations didn't warrant them, being able to retire. And so that was key for us as well. That if we want to go back to work, it's just because we just want to go, not because we need to go.
Right.
Yeah, so that was important.
Yeah. And that does happen to a lot of retirees, unfortunately. They have to go and seek a job, and then there are those others who, I guess, if they're lonely, if they are
for various reasons.
What were the conversations you had before retirement regarding the expectations?
I'm not really. I don't know. You clarify that a little bit when you say expectation.
That just
because we looked at that, we were wondering like,
I mean expectations in terms of what you think the retirement is going to look like for each of you.
Okay.
Because you may have had a different point of view. Like I have expectation for our retirement that differs from his, because he ain't retired yet. Okay.
So clearly,
I talk to him all the time about what I would like for our retirement to look like. So I'm wondering, that's what I mean by expectations. If you guys have those types of conversations.
Well, we didn't. But the way we lived our lives, we were already doing things. Like our thing is we're always together. So we're always planning trips. We're always going places. We do things. And now we would just have more time to do those things and do them together. Like she said, we're best friends. So, we can hang together. It wasn't a problem. Like the expectations, well, we can't be together all the time now that we're retired. It was even a plus now. Because we didn't, go to work and we're separate for those few hours at work. But now we're together and let's plan things, whether it's a day trip, a weekend, a long weekend. If we can want to go 2-3 weeks now, we can do whatever we want to do. So our expectation is not to change our lifestyle that we had. Now it's even more enhanced now because we don't have the limitations of being back or being somewhere at a specific time.
Right. Or being limited to a specific number of vacation days or personal days or something like that. Every day is a vacation day.
Every day is Saturday.
Every day is Saturday. You don't have those limitations. I think that's a beautiful thing.
I hear that, and it gives me such a nice feeling. But for me, obviously, having worked so long, I look at it as being hard to get out of that regiment of having to go to work. And retirement, you know, it's obviously going to be changing. I don't have that regiment, but sometimes it scares me because it's almost like I need the structure of going to work and coming home and then I'll do whatever. Now I'm gonna have all this extra time.
No, you won't. I'll make sure you don't.
It concerns me. It concerns me what I what do. And you know, when we talk about the expectations, you know, Val's talking about full retirement. I'm thinking about, okay, I'll retire. But again, because of that structured way of thinking, you know, maybe I'll do a couple of days somewhere to still be kind of working. That's not what she wants. She wants the everyday Saturday type of thing.
Exactly. Right. But I hear you, Frank, because I think further down in one of the questions, I pretty much said the same thing, like that structure, it provided a certain amount of structure, it filled in a certain amount of space and time. And, you know, that is something to consider. Right. Yeah, it gave us a certain rhythm that we don't have now post-retirement.
Okay.
Well, we had a certain rhythm where we got up, we did, you know, whatever, got ready, went to work, we did our lunch, we came home. You know, we had pretty much our time after work was, you know, thank God was our time, was God's time, but, you know, we had free time. I'll put it like that after work because our kids are grown. But still, you know, you had that in the back of your mind. You still, you got work tomorrow and stuff like that. So that, you know, I'm glad you said that, Frank, because I did kind of answer one of the questions like that about the structure, about the rhythm that we had, and then feeling like you have to find a rhythm. See, Byron has a hobby. Like, I don't really have a hobby. I'm real spontaneous. Byron likes to fish. I'm the kind of person, I'll get up and go, you know, like, okay, I'll give you for an example. We just had an anniversary in May. So at the end of April, we went to Dominican Republic. And we said that would count as our, you know, like anniversary type. We came back the beginning of May. Maybe a week or so later was our actual anniversary. We get up on our anniversary. I'm like,
so what we gonna do?
What we gonna do?
It's our actual anniversary, but we went to the Dominican Republic.
Right.
So this is me. And this is me most of the time. I'm like, yo, let's go to Montreal.
And I said, let's go.
So what do? I get on the computer. I start finding hotels. See, well, I realized it was only like a 7 hour, not even a 7 hour drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? We can hop in the car. We can do 7 hours. Like, that's nothing, right? We literally like hop in the car and drive to Montreal. And we had the best time of our life
for a nice long weekend. For our anniversary.
3 or 4 days ago, it's maybe 8 or 9 o'clock at night. It's, you know, getting dark. I'm like, where can we walk around at night where it's not like something closed like at dusk? Like, I just want to, you know, get out and walk. We did. We went down to the river in Burlington, and we took a nice walk along the Delaware River. It's still lit during that time. You don't have to worry about it. It's beautiful, and so I'm real spontaneous.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting when I hear Frank talk about, what am I going to do? And to me, that's part of the planning for retirement. You plan. I don't think retirement has to be boring. Doesn't have to be void of activities, because to me, what retirement is, that's the time and the opportunity to do all those things, or at least some of those things that you had wanted to do, but you couldn't do because you had to get back and go to work on Monday morning.
Or you're raising
right.
So like a bucket list of things,
children.
Right, like a bucket list of things that places you want to go or things you want to do. And Frank, I could identify with, you know, what you said about the fear or the, you know, not knowing what my time or schedule is going to be like. And in the beginning, you know, the honey-do list, you know, things that needed to get done around the house or whatever, right? So every day I had an opportunity to check one of those things off. You know, so things that I kept putting off, work and hours, whatever, but now there was no excuse, so I could do them. And then, you know, if I didn't do it that day, guess what? God willing, there's a tomorrow, but no pressure, you know what I'm saying? So it's like leisure. You do it, and then the thing is, once you do it, you say, well, I could check that one off and go to the next one. So finding some things to fill that time in the days, and having a hobby, I'm in a book group with some guys. So we have a Monday that we lock in, we get together. Sometimes we get together as couples and we go, enjoy a play and dinner, or we'll hang out at their homes, and just do things like that. And I think that's the kind of stuff that the spontaneity is there, but also finding some structure. Because even if I'm here, I'm not going fishing, or I'm at home, it gives me that time to just focus on me and the things that I'm looking forward to doing in the future. It's freeing. So options, you have options. And one of those, I hear some of my other friends that have retired, and they do the part-time work to fill in that gap for them. But then it gets to a point they're like, I'm tired of this. I want to retire. I didn't want to work, so right. Might have to go through that trial and error period, but I have no intentions of going back to work. I'm free now.
I hear you, because I hope, as you know, I transitioned from nursing to counseling, and there are days when I say to Frank, I don't feel like seeing no clients today.
No, that's
I really don't. But I mean, the beauty of what counseling is, and I have control over my schedule.
Your schedule, yes.
Private
I have control over, because sometimes he'll say, well, Val, don't you have clients? Because I want to go somewhere and I want to do something. I said, yeah, but rescheduling is an option. It's not like I have to show up at a specific time on a specific day, or I'm going to get written up or get in trouble or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So I think planning ahead and anticipating what your retirement is going to look like, I think that's important. Especially as you're getting closer.
To
that retirement.
And on that, and I can't continue the conversation without just saying just how grateful I am. So I don't take the relationship we have for granted. It's not perfect, but I don't take what we have for granted. Not one iota, not 1 second, not 1 minute of the day. It's just something that's there, and I don't know. I don't take it for granted. It could be different, and I think it's key that people are honest with themselves about what type of relationship they have.
Yeah, that is so key.
You have to
be able to.
You got to be honest, because at the end of the day, if you're planning on retiring and you're trying to be with y'all gonna be together every day, and good and well.
Well, COVID exposed a lot of that.
I was about to say that,
because when things shut down and people were, forced to be together for that longer time, and then you heard of the stories of, incompatibility with,
I mean, some may have forced people to deal with issues, and hopefully they got room and grew. But then there was some that just, the struggle was real.
Yeah,
the struggle was real. So I would say if people are considering retiring, be honest about your relationship and where you are, because this is, we talk about it all the time. This is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Come on now.
That's the truth. And there were, unfortunately, several what I call COVID divorces. Who, like you say, Brother Byron, were home together every day, 24/7, and it exposed. I think what it really did is expose things that they refused to deal with, and work gave them an out, so they didn't have to deal with it.
Yes,
because they could be gone for 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day and come home and just deal with all the mundane things that couples do from day to day, and not have to really dig down and confront certain issues. But when you're there every day and you don't have work as an escape anymore, it brings all those things to light.
It brings it to surface, right?
Yeah.
Surface. Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, I lost my place. What, if anything, do you miss about working?
My answer is short and sweet. Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I kind of figured you was gonna go there, B.
Absolutely.
I think that's where I had answered that. What question was that?
9.
Nothing much other than, working did provide a specific structured rhythm for all those years, because I had 32, he had 34. But I wouldn't say that I necessarily, that's something that I miss, but I just recognize, that it brought a certain structure and rhythm to our life.
And I like the camaraderie, with my coworkers and one of the guys there. We had we call it our God time, where, when we go on our break, we had a 15-minute break in the morning and then one in the afternoon. We called it our God time. We would go for our walk and we wouldn't talk about anything other than God. No job, no nothing, and just talk about God. And then by the time we got back, we were already armed, you know what I mean? So whatever issues came up, guess what? We were already,
We were ready for it.
Get behind me, Satan.
Right. I hear that.
So those kind of relationships that I had with some of the people there, I miss, and we still stay in touch, since we, retired. So those things, not that I necessarily missed them, but I did enjoy them while I was there.
Yep. And I stay connected with the two people that I worked closely with. But I'm a little uncouth at times. So I say, look, I'm not gonna miss y'all. I'm telling y'all now. So don't think I'm gonna miss you guys. But we stay connected though.
I told them I didn't even want a retirement party. I don't want no. Look, I just want to go on and slide up out of here, But no, they did throw me a retirement party. So it was
after that many years, you would think so. Yeah. But I kind of concur with that. I don't miss working there. I don't miss working as a nurse at all, actually, which is really surprising to me because it's the only thing I did for 42 years. But I do sometimes, like you said, miss some of the relationships that I had while I was there. I don't miss all the stuff and I don't miss the work, but I do miss some of those relationships. Yeah. And we keep in touch from time to time. And all I can say is thank God for the book, for Facebook. That's the way that I can keep in touch with more of them. In fact, even nurses that I worked with years ago, that I worked with in New York and Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, I keep in touch with a lot of them that way on Facebook. So I do kind of feel the same way.
Okay, cool.
So I'm wondering if retirement impacted any of your roles and responsibilities at all.
Well, I'll let you answer.
Yeah, so our roles and responsibilities, they have kind of like merged over time, but organically merged. Right? So let's say during the pandemic, since I wasn't out and about as much, I started cutting the grass. So Byron would cut the front, I would cut the back. And I was like, that's my exercise. Right? So I did it, enjoyed it. And then you know about Byron's his accident, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right. So
I'm missing
during the pandemic, he Frank during the pandemic, he cut 2 fingers off on the lawnmower. And it was funny because I was like, God, you have such a way. Because so I picked up without skipping a beat, right, to cut the grass because I had already been doing it. It's funny, I do the grass in the back. So our neighbors, they're funny. They're like, oh, you cutting the grass? And I said I was already cutting the grass before he had the accident. Right? But I didn't really have to really do because Byron cut his fingers off one Tuesday, and the next Tuesday he was back cutting the grass again. So
I told that lawnmower, I'm not afraid of no lawnmower.
So when I say that our roles and responsibilities have kind of merged organically, it wasn't like we sat down and had a discussion. Well, you're going to start doing this, and I'm going to start doing this. And you're going to help me cut the grass. No, they just kind of merged organically. Byron does the dishes.
Yeah. and I was not a dishwasher.
I've been with him 32 years. He does the dishes.
I don't know what came over me, but after a while, she said, well, go and let him do it. She didn't say anything, but it was something that needed to be done. And I had a change thinking, heart, or whatever. And gradually, like she said, it started blending that, you know, whatever needed to be done. It's not just your role or responsibility to do it. We're here, I'm here, you know, and just a helping hand. You know, we have the time. How long does it take to do this? And, you know, and it gradually just, that's what it blossoms into.
So it just organically growing, like the lawn, cooking, shopping, whatever. All of that stuff is just, it's you know, hours. And it's funny because I'm not one of those, you know, initially when Byron would do the dishes, I would think, you know, I should say thank you. But in my spirit, I'm like,
she didn't want to blow it.
But in my spirit, I'm like, that don't even make sense to me, right? Thank you for doing the dishes that you just dirtied up. Like, that don't make sense to me, right? And then I had to, you know, but I'm grateful because, like I said, 32 years, and he does the dishes, and I'm like,
I don't know, Hope. I can hear an occasional thank you, just like when Val cooks. You know, I would say thank you. Do I have to? I don't know, but I do.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not a good comparison, Frank.
It's all right to me. Frank, I'm with you, Frank.
I tried, Byron.
But listen, let me tell you something. Along those lines, I think one of the things I fear with Frank's retirement is he's going to be unleashed in this home because that's we go through it now. I organize a certain way, very different from him. And he'll look just today. He did it today. Look at the cabinet, Val. I think we need to reorganize this. I don't need to reorganize nothing. I already know where everything is. I can go right in there and put my hand on it. If somebody asks me, okay, it's the top shelf to the left in the back, okay? But that is concern of mine. He's gonna have time on his hands.
Yeah, that's right.
I may go out one day
and I'll rearrange my whole place.
And I'll come back and the whole place is rearranged.
That's funny.
I can see that happening. Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening. Oh my goodness.
Then y'all should tell me, you know what, you need to go back to work.
All right.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's really funny. We did just have that conversation today. I was fussing him out because he's looking in the cabinet saying, but Val, we need to move this. We got to reorganize. I said, listen, I'm in the kitchen way more than you. Go back to the room, okay? Just get out the kitchen. Let's get your food and go head on.
There you go. That's like me going to tell Byron. Oh my God. That's like me going to tell him to rearrange the shed. Like, I'm not in the shed.
Yeah. And when I use stuff when I'm cooking, you know, I see what the spices and everything. I try to put them back where I found them, but if not, she'll get them back where they need to be. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, that's hilarious.
Eventually, they'll make their way back to their home, right?
Yeah.
So I think you guys kind of answered this question already about how retirement may have impacted your finances and how did you plan financially for the retirement? I think you kind of touched on that a bit already.
Well, for us, we actually have more disposable income now that we're retired than we did when we were working. Because the drive for gas. What was another thing?
And so when we retired, we made sure that we were debt free. Yeah. So that was a big thing, and those are things that we looked at too. Certain like type taxes and stuff that don't come out. So we ended up faring probably better, especially on the savings end, because we can actually save more now. I think you just have a different kind of mindset too. You know what you have coming in, and so when you're working, I don't know. I think in the back of your mind, you just kind of think different. We went debt free. We stayed debt free, and like I said, other things aren't coming out. Like when we were working, we had to pay for medical insurance, which was a nice chunk coming out every time we got paid. We don't have to pay for medical insurance.
Yeah, I get free.
So all this kind of stuff, is back in our pocket. So now we actually save more than we did when we were retiring.
And I just turned 62, and I got my Social Security early at 62, rather than wait for 67, right? Because the amount of money I get now, that's added to what we already have, and rather than wait 5 years when I can have that money in my account instead of Uncle Sam's,
Right.
it makes a difference.
That
Rather
makes a
than
whole lot
wait 5 years to start getting it, I'm getting it now, and it's in our bank account and
That's right.
not theirs. You know what I'm saying? Because
That's
there are
right.
no guarantees, but right now it's guaranteed I got it.
Right.
Bird in the hand better than two. What is it?
A bird in the hand is better than two in the
bush.
bush.
In the bush.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree 100%. And I think, I think sometimes that when they send you, or you'll get this much at this age and this much at that age, it's an enticement to for you to wait longer. But I think low key, they hoping you ain't gonna live to get it.
Yeah,
Yes.
right, exactly.
And when you do when I did the calculation, it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Financially, because for 5 years to wait to get that little bit extra that they're talking about giving me, and so for 5 years I'll be getting, just using 2,000 as an example. If I'm getting 2,000 a month for 12 months, that's $24,000 a year, right?
Right.
And I'm going to get that for 5 years.
Right.
That's in my bank account, as opposed to waiting 5 more years to start getting that. And then you add 5 more years to that I'm getting that extra little bit. Add 5 more years to what I'm already getting. I'm still catching up.
Right.
We did do that math.
It didn't make sense.
It took on average about 10 years, 8 to 10 years to catch up to
try to catch up.
Yes,
right.
To try to catch up.
And then by that time, I'm in my mid 70s before I've even caught up. But that money's in my pocket for 13 plus years.
That's right.
So
that's right. Yeah. And go ahead.
I'm done. Did the math, and it worked out. So far so good.
And that makes a whole lot of sense. The only reason, because I'm not taking Social Security right now, and the only reason is because when I called up and I was going through the paperwork and I was about ready, but since I still do counseling and I have an income from counseling, and the guy told me if you make more than a certain amount per year, which is really, really low amount, but every dollar you make over that, you got to give the government back $2.
Yes.
Ooh.
And so I said, okay, I can wait till February of next year, because you have to be 66 in 4 months where any income is not impacted. Your Social Security is not impacted by income.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I'll be 66 in 4 months in February. So I'll start the paperwork. And so in mid-January of next year, that's the only reason why I'm not, I'm not going to, Uncle Sam has got enough of my money.
I know they get you coming and going.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they will.
You say death and taxes.
Death and taxes. And then I got pissed because now I'm 65 and I'm forced to take Medicare.
Yes.
And so I have to pay for the Medicare on top of, and I called them up. I said, but listen, I have federal health insurance because I was employed by the federal government. Doesn't that count for something?
Nope.
I'm trying to negotiate, and they're saying no, because I didn't want to have to pay for Social Security the Medicare.
Yep. They tell you got to do it.
Yeah. You got to do it because you're penalized.
You penalized. That's right.
Yes. So I have it on my calendar. Make sure. I got a few more years, but it's on the calendar. Trust me.
Yeah, because you only have a certain number of months grace period beyond your 65th birthday, because after that's when the penalty will start kicking in. And I think that there are some people who may be in their 40s or 50s who are unaware of all these different things that can have the potential of impacting their retirement. And these are things to start thinking about early. I think if someone is even in their 30s or 40s, I don't think it's ever too young to start thinking about your retirement, because for some people, if you plan correctly, you may even be able to retire a whole lot earlier.
Right. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend that did, and he was young, retired from one, and he was almost like you, Val, where they called him. Now he works for the same company, but only as a private contractor. And he's able to work in that capacity and still get something in a 401k or something.
Yeah, that's good.
So he'll have added, almost like another pension to draw from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Listen, the more pensions you can have, the better.
Exactly.
The more you can have, the better. Okay.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that there is a couple who is younger, in their 30s or 40s or whatever. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them in terms of planning ahead so that they could possibly have a smooth transition from employment to retirement? What would you say to them?
What would be my advice to them? I guess the biggest thing is debt. You know, for me, carrying a lot of debt going forward, because say for instance, in times like now, where everything's going up, food, get all of our necessities, they're able to go up on rent, the food, the gas, all the things that we need to do. And if you're already carrying debt, that's going to be even more of a burden. So try to remain, you know, without so much debt, to get debt free if possible. You know, that was big. Owing a lot of your income that's a deep hole to climb out of. I would think. I wasn't there, but in my younger years, you know, I was not frugal with money, and you know, so I don't, you know, wasn't thinking with the wisdom of, you know, age now, hindsight, and all that stuff. Yeah. You know, being able to sacrifice at a young age, looking forward to, you know, later in life, you know, but everybody's circumstances are different, you know, so I couldn't, you know, just say that, but I know not carrying a lot of debt is a big thing.
I think just having it for them to have the conversation, definitely talk about it, plan it. If it's some work that needs to be done, like I said earlier, be honest about your relationship, where your relationship is. Be honest about the fact that we're going to be together home a lot. You know, all, you know, just whatever conversations. It's hard, you know, kind of because our relationship is as such that we're together all the time. So we're just naturally having these conversations. So it's hard to, you know, kind of say for people that, you know, every morning, like you said, you may work 12 hours. You may come home and see your significant other a few hours, and you just kind of go on through the motions. It's hard to say, but I think if you want to have a peaceful retirement, you want to be able to just retire and be comfortable. Finances is the main one. If there's any relationship, you know, issues there, I think you should really, really, really talk about those and be honest. I would tell them, you know, hey, check MB TV. Talk to Marriage Beyond the Breach and get some ideas and pointers about, because that'll be key too. You don't want people to retire. Like I don't know the statistics, but how many people have retired and gotten divorced afterwards? You know, there got to be some numbers out there somewhere, right?
There are.
You know, that's something to think about. But I think for young people, plan while you can, and debt free is not like literally debt free, because well, for us, we still have a mortgage. We don't have any car payments, but we knew going into retirement that we had one car that would be paid off within a couple of years of retirement. So those kind of things we thought ahead. We do have one student loan that we're paying, but other than that, like credit cards, all that unnecessary stuff, like you know, we don't have any of that. Our cars are paid for,
and we live within our means.
We live within our means.
We're not living extravagant or anything.
So all of that, but just having the conversation, just seeing where each other are in that, you know, do you need to retire at the table together? Because you hear some people say, no, I don't want to retire when my husband retire. I don't want to retire when my wife. I don't want to be home, you know, stuff like that. Or then you hear the opposite. So I don't want to be home by myself. If I retire, you need to retire too. So you hear all of that.
Yeah.
And but each relationship has its own dynamics. And I just feel like people just really, need to be honest. They just need to be honest about where they are. And if you're willing to have the discussion, if you're retiring, you're willing to maybe take on a part-time job afterwards because you get bored, or you don't have I don't have a hobby. Could I go and work right now? I guess maybe I could, kind of, sort of, but some days, to Frank, some days I'm home and I'm like, I want to do something, but I don't want to just do something because I'm bored, because I know me. Today I might do that, tomorrow I might feel like I don't want a long-term commitment.
Yes.
So that's where I am. Like, I love what Val is doing, because like you can make your own schedule and stuff like that. So if someone gave me a job right now and said you can work at your leisure, I would take it.
And from home.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
yep. From home at your leisure, I would take it. If they say you can work when you're abroad, when you're traveling, I would take it. If you say I can work 2 hours and come back later and work 2 or 3 more, I would take it. If I that kind of job, I'll take that. Why not? But other than that, man,
not me. When I'm on vacation and I'm retired, my retirement is my retirement. I don't want to hear I'm working from home, or I'm working from the beach. That just doesn't sound right to me.
It don't even sound right. Working from the beach.
That don't sound right. That's right.
I gotta get on this meeting real quick.
No.
Yeah, but if I could work out how I felt like working, pick and choose, I would look. I could. You know what? I'm not doing anything. Y'all need me right now.
And that's the individual in us. Everybody's different. Our mindsets, and that's, like she said, the key is discussion. Having a conversation about it, so that everybody understands where we are. In the dynamics of this. Because if I'm not by myself, then I'm bringing someone else into that. And so being considerate of that as well. And when the two become one, I'm not just thinking of myself, I'm thinking of someone else, all the
time. I think that's key. Everything you guys have said, especially about having those conversations, because I think when couples can really converse honestly, and that's the key, to be open and honest with one another, so many issues could be avoided.
Yes.
So many things can be avoided, and if one feels one way about retirement and the other feels the other way about retirement, we don't have to necessarily agree, because I look at retirement very differently than Frank does.
Absolutely.
We don't agree, but we okay with that. We disagree. Go ahead, baby.
I'm still not there where she would like me to be in these discussions. I mean, I could see the benefits, but for me right now, even though we have the discussion that later this year, I might put in my paperwork, but I haven't brought the other foot over the threshold yet. Individual in us both. She's comfortable where she is.
Yeah.
I still like my structure, even though the job I'm at now is kind of facilitating a quicker exit than normally had been.
Okay.
So I won't name the company, but either way, so that's kind of giving me an extra push,
a little extra push
incentive. And like you said, Byron, to start collecting next year as opposed to 2 years and have, like you said, that catch-up game. I mean, do you really ever catch up? You maybe don't long enough to catch up,
And it's not guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too that something just made me think of when I talk about the relationship, like if I retired or vice versa, Byron retired. So if he retired before me, and I'm still getting up, going to work, sometimes that causes tension, right?
Yeah.
I know Byron well enough to know that, just because you got to go to work every day doesn't mean I'm sitting around the house. So if he decided he want to get up and take a trip somewhere and I can't go, that would be on me. You're like, I think I want to go down to Orlando for a month.
Yeah.
Like, well, hon, I can't go for a month.
We'll FaceTime. No.
But I'm just saying, like, in a relationship, I wouldn't want to say, well, that's not fair. You get to go whenever you want to go, and I'm stuck. Yeah, like, no, it's a choice. And so when I talk about relationship, these are kind of things that could bring up unforeseen issues if you don't have a discussion. Like, what are you going to do if you're at work every day and he's just doing what he does? How are you going to feel about it? How are you going to feel about you come home from work and he's gone and you're like, hey, yo, baby, I've been gone all day. I'm here.
Don't get salty. Don't
get salty.
Yeah.
You gotta decide, what type of person you are. Is that going to bother you? Are you going to get irritated about that? All of that stuff comes into play.
Yeah. And actually, those are some of the conversations that Frank and I have, because since I am retired and I make my own schedule and I love to travel. Okay. Frank, not so much. So we have agreed that there are certain trips that I will go on by myself. And since I have a good friend who lives down in Tampa, I can go and visit her for a while. Now, my dream, I really want to go to Aruba, but I wouldn't go there without Frank. I thought about it for a hot minute, but I would. That's not a trip I want to take without my husband.
Right.
Visit someone down in Florida or down in Virginia, South Carolina. I can do that. I can take those kinds of trips, and we have agreed that would be okay. But when it comes to going to those other quote unquote romantical Caribbean islands, I want my husband to go with me.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
I agree.
When we had these conversations, what comes through on my mind is like, Frank, like you said, Byron, I'm still working. It would be unfair, or Hope you mentioned it would be unfair for me to say, well, you can't go because I can't go. And I've come to realize, hey, listen, I see you when you get back. Enjoy yourself, be safe. You deserve it and you've earned it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yep. As long as I share my itinerary with them, because sometimes I forget to do that.
Yeah, and I need to know, not so much as you're reporting, but I just you got this safe wing in case I got to call you. How I need to reach you.
Yes. And we are firm believers in accountability. That's just something that I can go and say I'm going to the store, and I could be gone. Sometimes you lose track of time. I could be gone for 4 or 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, Byron may call and just check, you all right? Because that's you just got to make sure it's not about, any kind of control. It's not about any for us, it's not about any insecurity or distrust. It's none of that. It's just, when we first got married, our pastor had told us, he talked about, being accountable. And even if he doesn't call me at some point in that stretch of time, I'm going to pick up the phone and call him and say, I'm still at such and such, or I went
and vice
whatever.
versa.
It's just like, and I think just not accountability too. It is accountability, but I think the other thing to it is because of the relationship. It's just like, wow, I haven't seen Byron in like 5 hours, 6 hours. Like, it's been all day. Like, let me just call and check. The funny thing is, even when we work together, and like we said, we would get up, we would go to work, we would go to lunch. We did this for 29 years. He go to his desk, I go to my desk. Somewhere throughout that day,
we talking
for a half hour. We only 50 feet away from each other. Talking for a half hour about whatever work or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you just right down the hall.
Yeah.
But so that time, I think that comes from just the time spent, the time being with each other. So there's an accountability piece, and then there's just a relationship piece that's in there, anyway.
Yeah. And respect as well. It's a matter of
respect. Yes. Definitely, Val. Definitely.
And I just shared this the other day with one of my friends, because I was at a meeting and she dropped me off and she was coming to pick me up, and this is the kind of relationship that we had. But early on, being the selfish one, because I was refereeing basketball at the time, and I had a double header game. So the first game was fine, but the second one got postponed. So right at the time, she said, well, I'll be back before the second game's over. But it was no second game. So she's at the mall somewhere. So everybody's left the gym because it was a forfeit. And I'm sitting there like, man, she just selfish, right? And then I spoke to her, and an older gentleman, wise, he said, you were making all that fuss. You didn't even know if she was going to make it back to you. He said, what you should have been doing was praying that she was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that she would make it back to you. And that made a lot of sense to me. Instead of being selfish, we're a team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, when she got there, then I just explained what happened and not being so, it's all about me. And then I'm over time, I learned it's a we thing.
It's a we
when
thing.
The two became one.
That's right.
We could finish each other's sentence. We think a lot. The other day, we were thinking about something. She said, I was just thinking about that. So we've been together long enough where we complement each other.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not like two people going in opposite directions. More times than not, we're going in the same direction. And that makes that smooth, relationship.
Yes.
So Thursday when you had that meeting.
Yes. Well, at the meeting, the guy was saying, you need a ride, your wife's not here. I said, no, she'll be here. And, and then just as I was saying, I looked at my phone. She said, hon, you ready? And I showed it to him. I said, see, we're on the same page.
You're on the same page, the same wavelength.
Yes.
Yeah.
To God be the glory.
To God be the glory. And I think that happens sometimes with couples who are in long-term relationships like that. Let me tell you, y'all are two of the most happily retired people I have ever met. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love when I hear people talk positively about marriage and about relationships and to celebrate marriage, because we hear so much negativity regarding marriage, and they're to the degree that there are young people who feel like they want no parts of marriage. So to hear it spoken of positively and to hear you two speak so lovingly and kindly about each other and to celebrate it, it really, really warms my heart. It really warms my heart.
Thanks.
So, to God be the glory. Thank you very much.
Babe, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just a pleasure meeting you guys, and seeing y'all sitting on your deck and smiling. Okay, maybe there's hope for me when I'm ready.
Well, if that's what you got, Frank, come on, do it. Look, I sat at the computer like this. Do it or don't do it. Do it. And I had thought about it, planned it out and all that. And I said, boop, it's done.
That's it.
That's it.
The only way it'll get done is to do it.
That's the only. That's
okay,
it.
Okay,
that's
my
it.
brother. Thank you.
Listen, guys.
It's such an honor, because I have nothing but the utmost respect for this woman right here. You won't find. Look, I'm about to tear up, but you don't find a lot of women like Val. Now, do I talk to Val every day? No. Do I know when Val's birthday is? Probably not. No, it's October, close to my son.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Is it October the 12th or something like that?
October 12th.
You got it. You got it.
You know why? Because that's our youngest son's birthday.
Yep, that's your son.
So anyway, you don't meet. You just don't. I mean, I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
She one of them women you got to keep in your back pocket, because you just don't know when you are going to need her.
I appreciate that, sis.
No, because I don't take it for granted. God put people in our lives, and I'm one of them people. I'm not going to use you up, but I will know if there's an appointed time where I need to. I would know. God would put you. He would say, "Call Val right now." I just believe that.
Yeah.
I'm
a firm believer in that too, sis. Oh God, I love you guys so much, and I really appreciate you guys. I cannot thank you enough. I don't take this for granted either, that people take, you take time out of your day, out of your life to come and share, because there's so many people in marriages and in relationships who need to hear what you guys have to say and what couples like you all have to say. And that's why we do this. That's exactly why we do this.
That's a good thing. And I don't want to leave this session with false impressions that our lives are perfect, because then people think it's unattainable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not that our lives are perfect.
Right.
It's just that
it's a level of commitment, trust, faith. All of that comes into play. God-centered,
time.
You know, instead of being self-centered. You know, we work at this. It's not like, you know, it just happens. Right. You know, it's compromise. We could throw all of those buzzwords out there, right? But you have to put the time in. We do.
Yes.
And we trust each other, and we were friends, right? And we're still friends, you know, and that makes a difference. You know, how many people invest in the wedding, but not in the marriage?
Not in the marriage. Listen, you singing my song, brother. I say that all the time. It's not about the wedding. I tell some of my clients, I tell them, listen, I would rather y'all go on a street corner and have something, hire an officiant and get married on a street corner, but pay attention to the marriage. The wedding don't mean nothing.
Yes.
If you can't get that married life together.
That's right. Amen.
All right.
All
so
right.
anyway, guys, thank you so much again. And I will be seeing you. We got to plan something. I was talking to Frank today about trying to plan a couples get together.
Yeah.
So
we like doing that too.
Well, let me know when you plan that Aruba trip.
Right.
That's on our list.
Yes. That's a nice couple trip. We could do that.
Okay. All right.
I love you guys, and thanks
again. Nice meeting you, Frank.
Okay, Byron and Hope. Take care, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peace and blessings. All right.
And those of you, Lisa said she loved this. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us.
Hey, Lisa.
Anybody else who was there?
Wayne, I said hi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Whether you're watching it later, thank you. And again, what are those words, babe? Like, subscribe, and share. Because your sister needs some subscribers. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Peace and love.
Bye-bye.
See you, Lisa.
All right.